Chief Ben Raymond joins us this morning. And Chief, there's been kind of another option for SPD headquarters, the BHP Bulletin building. You're going to tour it. What are your initial thoughts?
So I talked to Councilman Butcher earlier this week, and he told me about the building being for sale, and he thought it would make a good police complex. And then, I told him certainly we need to speak with the mayor and his staff before we made any decisions, but I'd be willing to look at the building. I can tell you initially, it wouldn't work for the police department as a whole. It would be adequate in size for administration, support, and investigations, but that still leaves patrol as where we would house them. In the bond proposal, the plan was to move to substations. And so in conjunction with moving to substations, it would be, something we could actually do, but we would not be able to fit all of our personnel at this building.
Your existing facility is how many square feet?
I believe about 130,000.
But you were only in half that building because for a long time, the mayor's office was in the current building you're at, and finance department, half of City Hall was there, and you were in half that building. And you've since spread out to take over the whole building. Do you think you need, 100,000+?
We don't think we need 130,000. There's no doubt that this building is not designed well. The space could be used better, but we do estimate that we need about 70 to 75,000 just for administration, investigations, and support personnel. Now, patrol doesn't spend obviously much of their shift at the station, with the exception of the command staff and some supervisory personnel and things like that. But they do need adequate space for their vehicles, for their roll call room, for some of those ancillary items that patrol officers need. And we need more than 70,000 square feet for that. Additionally, although this building has quite a bit more parking than the other options that have been discussed, about 240 parking spaces. Again, that would work well for admin, support, and investigations, but we have over 300 marked police units, so we couldn't even park all of our police units at the new facility.
But all your units are never in one lot at the same time, are they?
They're not. No, they're never in the lot at the same time, but there's a large number of them in the lot. And think about it, for every marked unit, there's going to be a personal unit. So it's not a take-home vehicle. I have to drive my personal vehicle to the station, and I'm basically just swapping out parking spots. I'm leaving my car or truck and jumping in my marked unit. So if I have 200 pool cars, you theoretically are probably going to need about 300 parking spaces to keep up with the people coming and going, changing shifts, etc.
Chief, if you figured out a way where you could get into 70 or 75,000 square feet, whatever it happened to be, maybe the Bulletin building, maybe something else around town. Lord knows there's plenty of vacant buildings. That puts a lot more importance on those police substations, doesn't it?
It does. And I think, the police substations, that's a model we want to go to for a couple of reasons. One is it allows us to get into a smaller building and not need the space that we have here. But secondly, is more importantly, is we want to move more toward the community-oriented policing concept and getting police officers in those neighborhoods in which they're working. And I think that's an important aspect of it that you really don't want to take off the table at this time. Even if you had a building adequate for all our personnel, we don't think that'd be the best option.
Let's talk about the money. Grayson Butcher was with us 40 minutes ago talking about the finance packages that were used to buy patrol cars that are going to be rolling off over the next 3 years, that this money could be extended to be used to pay for a police station. How feasible is that? How much money are we talking about?
Well, so right now we have about $5.6 million in what we call a certificate of indebtedness, basically vehicle loans. $3.6 million will roll off at the end of 2021, so theoretically that money will be available in 2022, and then $1 million rolls off 2022 and $1 million rolls off 2023. However, we're in dire need of police vehicles, so we actually need that money to go toward more vehicles. If you take that $5.6 million 3 or 4 years from now and put it all towards a building, well, you're going to need another $5 or $6 million to buy the vehicles. We need cars now. We can't even afford to wait till 3 or 4 years to spend that money on vehicles. So you really got the same pot of money trying to be used for two separate, very important items, but two separate items, and that's not going to work.
Chief, a bunch of years ago when I was house hunting, I'd be driving around different neighborhoods. I'd say, I'd kind of like to live here. Over here, not so much. Maybe I'd walk through a house and he'd try and figure out where my furniture was going to go. You know what I'm talking about. When you drive around town right now, when you drive around town right now, and you more than anyone else are aware of the city's financial limitations, especially when it comes to a new police headquarters. Do you see vacant buildings like Billabong? Do you see they were talking about the AT&T building over there behind off D and Knight Street over that way?
Sears, yeah.
Do you start thinking about maybe that place wouldn't be so bad? I think we could make this place work. And if you do that around town, what do you look at? What do you think about all that?
There's a lot of places that we could make work, and I think the Sears building's been brought up, and it would have adequate space and parking, but I think what's important is you look at where we are now. We took over a building that was not designed with the police department in mind, that was constructed 60 years ago, and we've got a lot of problems because of that. I foresee us having more problems if we take over another old building that was not designed with the police department in mind. You're going to solve some of our problems, but you're going to create a whole other list of problems. And I really think the best plan was what we had in the proposal. We stay where we are, demolish the building we're in, and build a new one designed with the police department. And any time you talk about leaving our current location, you're talking about pulling away from our car maintenance facility. So right now, we have over 500 units, over 300 marked units. Well, they break down. Every day we've got vehicles being towed in or being worked on, and it's not so difficult when that happens at the police station and the maintenance shops across the street. If I'm 3 or 4 miles down the road, we're going to have people full-time jobs towing vehicles back and forth. You got the property management facility a block away from where we are. We got 911 building a block away. We got our jail a block away. We're next door to city court. We're in a law enforcement corridor in our current location. And anytime you move from here, you're going to create problems it's really hard to foresee exactly what difficulties that's going to cause for police officers, but it is going to cause some difficulty.
Chief, one more thing. Don't get mad at me, please.
No.
The public said no to the plan you prefer. You don't sound very bendable in terms of looking at other options. Am I accurate? Am I hearing you say that's really what I want? I really want to stick to that and find a way.
Well, so I don't think you're accurate in saying I'm not bendable. I had some conversation with the mayor's staff the last couple of days, and I was clear. Hey, if this is the option, we're not turning it down. It's better than where we are, no doubt. And the BHP building is much newer constructed. You're not going to have the issues with an older building. But I do want to point out that it's not ideal. So if you're asking me, do I want to ditch the bond proposal idea and go with this idea? No, I don't. But if you're saying this is your option, then certainly. That's like if I want to go buy a brand new truck, I want to go buy a 2020. But if all I can afford is a 2015, well, that's better than the 2005 I've got now.